Jeremiah, it's such a pleasure and an honor to have your company here on Podium. So thank you so much. And I guess just firstly, tell us how it feels to be underway with the outdoor season, considering what a start you've had to 2025 and the indoor season that you've had.
Yeah, I mean, I love running, so it's exciting always to come out to the outdoors. The sun's out, the wind's blowing, and the vibes are just different, you know. Indoor running is great, but like it's a summer sport, so yeah, I'm excited about this summer, and I'm literally just having fun with it at the moment.
Does it feel
Yeah.
quite refreshing to get out once you've done an indoor season? Like, is it time now?
Yeah, no, definitely, literally, like today is such a nice day. It's days like this where you really do love athletics, and like you remember why you started. Because as a kid, like I just remember in the summer, the sun's just out and you're just there with all your friends, and it's just like the smell of that track and all those little things. Like it's all what we all look forward to.
Is it like any
love that.
sunny day in Wales you got to celebrate, right? It's going to
Yeah, that
be
as
in
well.
Britain, full stop. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, Jeremiah, going back to the indoor season, because it was so remarkably successful and brilliant. A gold at Europeans, a gold at Worlds. You're the British champion. But you actually talked about being quite close, I think, because of a little niggle to not competing indoors at the national champs, which would have then impacted on whether you would have been going on to do those other events. I just wondered, do you feel like sometimes there are these sorts of sliding doors moments in your career, and whether this was maybe the biggest one so far?
No, honestly, like we were 2 days away from all of that not happening, and it's crazy to think that because it was such an like achieving things you set out to achieve is always something you do as an athlete. But like to think 48 hours, if I wasn't ready on that Thursday to run, like we were gonna call it a day. And I needed to race on the Saturday. And if I didn't race on the Saturday, I wouldn't have been able to go to the Europeans. And then following on, I wouldn't be able to go to the World. So like it's crazy how like we're literally at a crossroads and we have to take a left or a right. And like yeah, like sometimes I don't really think about it, but like when like in moments like this when you speak about it, that's when you realize like damn, like it all could have just not been there, you know.
But what does that do on a start line? Like whether we talk about British champs or Europeans or worlds, is it kind of gratitude that you're there and you make the most of it, or is it that sort of are you so drained from like the whole process of even getting to the start line? Like it's wild to have what on paper looks like a perfect season despite disruptions.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's too draining. I think I was going into it with like no pressure. Like the weeks leading up to it weren't ideal, and I was like, if I run fast, great. If I don't, it kind of makes sense. And like I was just lining up there, and I was kind of telling myself like, you've got nothing to lose. You know, you're racing now just to see how it can go. If you can hold up and get through one round, I was literally thinking I just need to get through one round, and then in that final at the British Champs, I was like, okay, we'll just go for it now. I literally thought to myself at 30 meters, if it goes, it goes, and I just like ran through it. Yeah, so. Honestly, there was just no pressure with it, and I was just like, and even to equal my PB at that race, like having no ideal prep into it, it's like I think it shows like the competitive nature inside me. And I just love racing. Like when stuff means something, like I know there's a couple more percent I can bring out, you know.
Can you bottle that kind of feeling, Jeremiah, in terms of like you didn't put any pressure on yourself and you've ended up performing like this? It was a whirlwind winter anyway. You had a baby, then you cleaned up at the Europeans and the World. So clearly something was working for you.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think in those moments, like I look onto my faith a lot because it's easy to get disheartened or like unconfident, but like I was going into it with no fear, you know, and kind of holding on to those feelings and remembering what I was thinking leading up into those things and remembering what the warm-ups felt like and kind of like you said, bottling it up. So like if I ever need to tap into that again, I know how to get into that mind frame or how to get into those like process steps.
Yeah. And now you're a world champion, Jeremiah. So you have a target on your back.
Yeah, there is that as well. And I think naturally you feel the pressure of that as an athlete. There's almost like this expectation from everyone and from yourself, from your family, your friends, because we've all known I've been able to do it. And now it's like, I need to show that I can do it again. And I think it's very interesting saying like the target on your back. And I think as athletes, we get caught up in like all these different titles and like things that we win. Like when it comes to normal racing, like you're not really thinking about why you started it. And I think it's always important to go back to like the why. Because I started this because I was just enjoying it and I was something I was good at. And then of course you set these goals to go on and be better, which is great, and everyone should do that. But I think it's always important to go back to the why you started.
I think so many people start sport with that perspective. It's something you're brilliant at school, you get some accolades, you feel good about it, you love it. But then you turn into professional and that all gets polluted and it's almost seen as unprofessional to talk about just trying to enjoy it. I'm not saying that's what I'm saying about what you said, but like how do you think professional athletes manage that to kind of keep the joy and keep the excitement amongst all that pressure and expectation?
I think it comes from like your surrounding areas or like your what's the word I'm looking for? Like your close team, your close circle. Like at training every day, like of course we're getting the work done, but there's that enjoyment with it. I think there is days where we need to come in and be serious, and coach is like, I need you to do this, this, and this. But you can't be on that 100% 6 or 7 days a week. Naturally, you're gonna fall off a cliff because that's like it's hard to keep yourself up there, and especially because we try to peak for like this year for September. You've got to make sure that everything's building up into that point, because to try and hold on to something from April to September is a long way. So yeah, I think that the process of it is enjoying it, and then when you get to where it's time to be serious and lock in, that's when you switch that. It's like a switch, you know.
I had a brilliant sports psych who said, "Who decided that professional means serious?" When did that become a thing? And he'd cite Usain Bolt as like one of the sort of pioneers in that, just coming in and clowning around, and it's so right. But there's this, when something really matters to you, there's this predisposition to go into being serious about it, and that can be really hard to manage, as you say, day by day, week by week.
Yeah, no, literally. And I can kind of relate to that. Of course, I'm a professional athlete, but I don't take things too seriously. Not that I don't take this like of course it's my job, and like I even don't like saying job because it makes it sound too serious. But it's my career.
It's your profession.
It's my profession, and I just like to enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Every day I get to do what I love doing. It's hard to be so focused that you're not having a good time when you're doing it.
But yeah, I'd be interested your thoughts on this. So we were chatting to Christian Taylor for this podcast as well, and he talked about the call room in the sprinters versus like when he's done triple jumping, so when he switched over for a bit, and how serious the call room is, and how he found that so funny as an athlete coming into the sprints, because he thought everyone was taking it almost too seriously, and he almost wanted to like disrupt that atmosphere. But you strike me, like particularly in your celebrations after you won with the crown on your head running around the indoor track, like I absolutely loved it. But I wonder how you find that serious atmosphere before a race.
I kind of just don't get it. Honestly, I don't get it. We've all run in training the same distance a million times. Why now, when it matters, do we become this like honestly I don't get it. I kind of just like it's all part of the process, and I get it, it's a formality, but I don't feel like I should treat the call room any differently to how I treat my warm-up or how I treat my race. It's all just part of this one time I get to express myself out on the track for people to see. And I have tried being serious and like all focused, but it just doesn't work for me. And I think it does work.
When you say you've tried it, like what do you do to try and be serious?
I mean, I just like frown and all that. Like, you know, like some people are just so
pace
serious.
around.
Like I've tried it, but for me, it's not my personality. And I think you need to be true to who you are. I think that's the key. It's not that everyone has to be laughy, smiley, because not everyone's like that. I think you just need to be true to who you are. Yeah, just get in your own zone, because you can't just do it because everyone else is doing it, you know.
Do you feel like you're an exception, Jeremiah? Are there other people who are a bit more like you?
Yeah, there are some. There's definitely some who are a bit more laid back. kind of see the enjoyment in it. But like I like to reiterate that that's not the only way. It just works for me, and I think if it works for me, I just need to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone has been treating you differently since you became European and world indoor champion? And I mean, probably less so your team around you, but maybe the other competitors, now that they've seen what you've done, and it's such a statement at the start of such a long season?
I don't think so. I haven't noticed it, so
no one's putting a chair out for you or carrying your bag or in the call room,
or not talking to you, or anything like that.
Yeah, got to get around the dining hall on the circuit, get my own food still.
Outrageous.
All that work for nothing.
Well, what about when you hear it though, as well? When you hear yourself being announced as the world and European indoor champion for the first time, do you remember how that felt? Did you even clock it?
Do you know what? Like even like in these conversations, I don't think about it day to day, and then when people say it to me, I'm just like, it's actually crazy. Because if someone was saying that about someone else, I'd be like, yo, that's like proper. But like, it's weird because it's me. I think, I don't know. I naturally just downplay it when it's yourself. But yeah, when I did first hear that, I was in China, and yeah, they announced the world champion. I was like, wow, that is like, that kind of like put me back in that 65, and I like realizing what I'd done. Because we're so focused on the next thing. Like even after I come off the track, and the first question is, "Oh, you're gonna be coming back to Asia for world champs?" And I was like, "I just won this 60 seconds ago." Like we're talking about September, But it's natural. That's just how the sport works. And I think us as athletes, that's how our brains are like programmed. Like once you take it off, it's like, all right, what's next? But I really did make sure that with that, I took in what I did, what I achieved. And even then, like, I still forget sometimes until people say it to me. It's like, yeah.
And I wonder, like, it's everyone's humans. We dwell on the bad and we push aside the good. Maybe Brits more. I think Brits have that sort of attitude as well. And I just think back to the summer and Paris and your false start, and to see for us to see you come out in that indoor season and get such a wonderful different experience. It is great. But I wonder, that false start must have taken so much to get over. I'm sure the relay medal might have helped, but yeah, what was that process like, trying to come back from that?
Yeah, it was tough. I think there wasn't a day in winter train I didn't think about it, and I think you can kind of see it in my how my indoors went. I think I told myself there's, no matter what I heard or what I didn't hear, I had to look inside and think there's something there that has allowed this to happen. And I just made sure that every day, like in winter, there wasn't a day I didn't leave the track thinking, no, I could have done that a bit better. But even then, there was like, I need to do more. And yeah, Paris was tough. I had my family there and they got me through it. I don't think I would have been able to come back out on the track if they weren't there. I left the village for like 3 or 4 days. I just stayed with them. Literally played paddle for like 4 days straight with them. That was good. I took my mind off it, and yeah, it allowed me to come back in. And like you said, I got the bronze with the team, which softened the blow a bit. But then all throughout September and off season October, like you just get flashbacks of it, and it's like even now speaking about it, it's like, did that really happen? Like I'm still waiting to wake up like it's like a bad dream, I've definitely processed it, but there's always going to be that part of you that's like, how, like, but I just used it as fuel. Every day I just made sure that I didn't leave anything at the track. And yeah, when I was racing indoors, it just kind of all exploded into one big thing. And even then, like, not the ideal prep going into it. I wasn't able to run, but there was so many other avenues I was taking just to make sure I wasn't getting left behind. And I think it was something like it was Paris that allowed me to have that hunger, allowed me to have that drive to continue to work, because it's so easy to get disheartened when you pick up these little niggles. And it's like, it's frustrating when it's nothing massive. It's like the little things that are so annoying, like, and they hinder you in like such minute ways, but like, because it's such a big chain, you take out one card, like the whole thing doesn't work. But yeah, that's just kind of how I treated it. And like I've always said, I wouldn't change anything in my career, how it's gone. looking back on it all, everything that's gone wrong or right has allowed me to get into this position, to become more confident, to become who I am, to allow me to like step on that track every time and know that I'm able to do it. And that's just part of the story. And when we get to LA, I'm sure there's going to be something good coming off it. And somebody will like be able to look back and think, if he went through this and he was able to achieve this, why can't I? Yeah.
So did you do a big analysis then about what you can change? Do you really used it as a massive drive, perhaps? I know you've made a big change, obviously, with the fact that you went back to your old coach, Helen James. Did you sort of think maybe, because I know you've spoken a lot about wanting to feel a bit more settled, be around your family a bit more. Did it contextualize for you that that was really important to get the best out of yourself going forward and then going back to familiarity?
Yeah, I think there was a whole bunch of factors. But speaking with Helen and looking back to my time with her, of course, I was a younger athlete, but there was never a time that I doubted myself working with her. And of course, at different stages of your life, you're going to have different confidence levels. And as a junior, you're always just stepping on that track. And it's so easy at that age. No pressure, no real life stuff going on. But there was one thing that I just always remembered, how well she would get me psychologically ready for races. And I think that's something that I had just been missing out on. Some people can do that through themselves, or other coaches can give people that. But for me, that was something huge that I felt like I was missing out for the 48 months that I was away. And yeah, I kind of just tapped into that, getting back here with my family. I'm such a homeboy. Like, I even just got my house and I made sure it wasn't too far from my parents. It's just like little things like that, because I think they keep me grounded, and that's really important. And yeah, just seeing them, not even every day, but every other day here and there, knowing that they're there is a massive difference. I think a lot of people say things about comfort zones and all this and that. And I did get out of my comfort zone, and it worked for what it worked for. I learned what I learned. But coming back into that comfort zone and making it a better environment, I think that also works as well. There's not one way to do it. And I think for me, it was about, I don't even like the word comfortable, but being comfortable and making it work where it works for me.
You kind of answered what I was going to raise next. I think a lot of young athletes, there's this pressure to commit and to make big changes and to chase these environments. And it's nothing against those professional environments. They work so well for so many athletes. But there's almost this, for me, this deprioritization of what makes the athlete happy, what makes them
life, right?
Yeah, life. And there's a clash for some people. Matt Hudson-Smith has spoken really openly about his experiences going out to professional setup. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that played into it, but I think there is this pressure in the industry and in the sport to make almost like knee-jerk big changes without sort of that encouragement to say, do you suit being away from home? Do you suit going there?
Yeah. And I think the person I am, I made it work because, like, I just make things work, But realistically, who knows? We make all these decisions in life, and like, there's no way to say that if I didn't go, or if I did go, all these things would have happened. I think I needed to, like, personally as an athlete and just as Jeremiah, because realistically, I probably would have moved away. And I think it was a great experience to live by myself. To live with other athletes like Adam Jamili, and like, just you don't get that opportunity in life much, and like, it's all positive that have come from it, and I've learned so much, and I can use that all here and help people in Cardiff. That was another big thing for me. Like, I feel like when I was around and young, I didn't have anyone in Cardiff I could look up to so much, and I just want to try and be that for the younger athletes, to let them know you can do it from here. You don't need to go across the world. If you want to be great and successful, if you work hard, you can make it. And like, it's little things like that that's just important for me personally.
I'm also fascinated by relationships between athletes and coaches, obviously, but I think it's still so rare, Jeremiah, like across any sport, that you have a male athlete coached by a woman. And I know your relationship goes way back, but I just wondered if you could tell us a bit about how and why it works, and if you think there are some intrinsic parts of Helen, being a woman that actually works so well in how you guys have your setup? And you've talked about her being almost like a mother figure at times. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, maybe it is that kind of like safety, place of safety for me, you know. I never feel insecure around her. I never feel, if a race doesn't go well, I never feel beaten up, because ultimately we're working towards something bigger, that if one little thing doesn't go right, it doesn't affect us because we're still on that path. And yeah, she's known me since I was 16, 17. So she's seen me become who I am. And I think there's a part of that, like, she knows, because she's seen me since I started this sport. She knows the days he ran well as a junior, or the days he ran well when he was 20 or 21, whatever. This is what he was doing. And honestly, like, after a certain age, you don't really change too much. Like, I've probably been the same person for like the last 4 or 5 years. And where she's known me, like, I know on these days he's going to do well, and I know on these days he's not. And I think the female input is like, she's so intuitive and she's so switched on emotionally. And I think that support that I get from that is, you can't really get that from anywhere else. Especially to have that from your coach. Stepping on the line is like, there's no sort of like insecurity or doubt in yourself or her, because that partnership and that trust is like, it elevates the running stuff. It's above the running stuff.
You've spoken quite a bit already today about the psychological impact that advice can really give you. And it sounds like Helen really gets that with you. What is it, do you think, that you really appreciate from her in terms of what she says to you, the way she speaks to you perhaps, or is it motivational words or phrases? What is it about her that gets the best out of you?
I don't know what it is specifically. She just knows the right things to say to me. She could say the same things to anyone else and it might not work, but for me, it makes me tick. And I think she allows me to believe that what I believe is actually possible. Because I think in our heads, we all believe that we can achieve X, Y, Z. But her coming and saying the same thing that I've been thinking of for like a couple of weeks now, it makes me think, okay, I'm not just saying this because I'm saying this. There's actually some reality in it. And she doesn't just like say, oh, you're going to go and win the world champs with no context, because obviously she's seen what I've done. So when she said that to me before the final, and she's like, you're going to go and win this, like straight away, of course I had that feeling, but then it's solidified. And because I know it's not just me thinking that. And for me, trust is such a big thing. And I need to have people around me that I can trust and want to see me go to where they believe I can go to. And her like confirming something like that for me before I step out onto this track, at that point I'm walking on the clouds, because I know that I'm leaving that track and I'm leaving with that gold medal.
So where is the ceiling then? Like, where does she think your potential can max out at, and does that match your perception of it?
Yeah, I mean, we want to go like honestly to the top. Olympic gold is like what we've set our hearts on, so we're just going to work to that. We've got 4 years to make something like that happen, and I think everyone should set their goals high, because I don't know why you try and limit yourself, you know.
I mean, that's so nice that you think Olympic gold could be within my repertoire, Jeremiah. Thank you very much.
You never know. You never know. I didn't say any specific sport, so there could be something out there.
True.
There could be something, but yeah, I think we kind of just aim for the top, and it's worked for us all these years. Yeah, since young till now, the combination of our work works. Yeah.
But
Just before we move on, sorry, go on, Helen.
I love the way you say that, because it's not a robotic sort of answer that, you know, because some people say, yeah, I'm going to win the Olympic. It looks like you really believe it. But I think there's a certain maturity in an athlete or balance you have to be able to say that without feeling pressure. And it really looks to me that you're seeing it as an opportunity, not as this millstone around your neck. Like, if I don't do this, it's a failure.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows? We're going to come to it eventually. We'll all come to it and we'll find out the outcome. But even if it doesn't, and I don't even like speaking about ifs and don'ts, but even if it doesn't, there's no one's name on that medal today. So why
Mhm.
can't I, as Jeremiah, believe that I can win that? Um, I've seen crazier stuff happen, and I think my trajectory can lead to something like that. Yeah, yeah,
Why not?
I know.
Just before we move on from Helen, Jeremiah, there's Hannah touched on it. There's this sort of culture maybe among a lot of athletes where they feel like they need to go. They need to go to Europe or the USA to go and train. But there are so many talented coaches here. I know the weather isn't ideal most of the time,
Yeah,
but do you think the UK can become more of a hub for talent?
yeah, no. Honestly, I do. I think there's speaking with so many different coaches across the UK. There's so much knowledge that they have that you speak to all these other superstar, huge group coaches, and it's the same stuff that they're telling you. So why can't we make it happen here? You don't need to spend all that time and money relocating. I think it is good to go and learn, but not everyone can do that. Of course, I'm in a fortunate position to be able to do that, but a lot of people that are doing the sport can't do that. So you can make it work where you are. It's about having the right education on how I can get better, because you can't go from, let's just chuck some random numbers out. You can't go from running 10.8 to 10.1. So you need to make those incremental jumps. And it's like the planning process can make the difference. And I think people just get too caught up on wanting to have their end goal now rather than think, why don't we plan this out properly and spread it out over 4 years? We work in 4-year cycles for a reason, because that's the pinnacle of our sport. So you can't get too caught up off one season not working. If you've got a plan, you've got to stick to it. And there is an element of like sticking to the plan when you know it's not working. So it is kind of hard. But yeah, I think if you're informed and you make the right decisions early, then when you plan, the process should work. But there's definitely the capability in the UK for it to happen. I think. I don't want to go down that route. I think, yeah, maybe, yeah, I think the Dutch do a really good job of like how they have their setup with like with their federation, and yeah, British athletics, maybe something like that would work, but it's hard to say. So yeah.
But if we go where you are right now, back at home in Cardiff with a Welsh coach in Wales with the Commonwealth Games next year, like what? Yeah, like we've got Europeans in Birmingham as well, and the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. Like you guys must be so excited for those Commie Games and get to wear the Welsh vest.
Yeah, like it's so good wearing the Welsh vest. First time was in 2022, and it was just a different feeling. Even going into that, I had like this little niggle I was dealing with, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do that. I feel like it's a reoccurring theme with me. But yeah, it was unbelievable. The crowd was just like out of this world, and like to be back there is going to be insane.
Yeah. And what about your life now as well, Jeremiah? We talked about all the changes you've made, relocating back home, but now you're a dad. So how's that changed you? I mean, yeah, speaking of, I've got a 5-year-old, Hannah's got a child as well. Katie doesn't know what all this is about yet. But what have you found the biggest challenges, and what are you really enjoying about it?
It's hard because as an athlete you need to be selfish, but as a parent it's the complete opposite. So it's so conflicting, but naturally, the babies always win. So yeah, I think it's been interesting exploring that side of me. I haven't had any real reasons to pull me out of things, but this is definitely one. There's an extra thought process with everything. There's more responsibility that comes with it. And of course, like family is huge for me, but now this is like my own family. So it's 10 times bigger. There's way more responsibility. And I think it's also, there's also a motivation in there. I just want to try and make him as proud of me as possible. Like for him to be able to watch me run, like I can't wait till he understands what's going on, because he's been to a couple of my races. I ran in Cardiff, and even just seeing him after I finished, it was just like like so warm, you know. But obviously he's just asleep, but still for me it's nice. For me.
Yeah, because it goes back to that taking pressure off of you that we are talking about earlier on, doesn't it? Because although it's the big thing for you that day, baby doesn't care.
No.
It's not about that. They just want to get fed. They just want to cuddle and they want to get fed. You're not the most important thing running on that track that day.
It's so humbling and it's so good because that just works for me. I can't walk around with my head like in the clouds. It just doesn't work. I just need to. I like staying home more. I just like going around, not standing out or anything. I mean, in different ways, I like stand out with like how I dress, but like in terms of like attention, I'd rather no one really like look to me. Obviously on the track it's a bit different, but like when I'm off the track, it's just like I just try to be low key. And like, you win a world medal and then 4 days later you're changing nappies. So like it brings you straight back to earth, you know. Yeah.
What about though the YouTube vlogs and things that you do, Jeremiah? Because even though you say you like to sort of shy away from maybe being recognised on the street, is part of the motivation for doing things like that trying to give people or maybe fans a bit of insight into what life is like, and maybe that's stuff that they don't see, you know, not just the race, it's like where you're eating, what the flight is like, how are you gonna hydrate between sessions, all of that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I just like to give people an insight to what actually happens and maybe some context behind why not all the races go how people think, because for them they just switch the TV on and we're there, but for us it's like there's a whole process of getting there. And it's real life stuff, you know. And I kind of just wanted to give people an insight to that because I would have loved, I just kind of just, everything that I do, I just kind of think back to my younger self. I would have just loved to see that, like, as a younger athlete, see that insight to what actually is happening. And I think it's just cool to give people a different perspective.
Well, I think it's
also,
important
I
to
don't
have
know.
that. Sorry.
Oh, well, I don't know if you know, Jeremiah, but you've actually already done on one of your vlogs a Podium collab with us, because you know there's a bit of commentary at the start of it. And that is Rich doing commentary on your race, which I quite like.
Okay. Which one was that then?
I'm the 997.
Oh.
Now you know
me.
it. Now you heard it. You know.
Yeah. Nah, yeah. So thrown a bit of that, put it in my intro. Yeah.
It's worthwhile talking about that whilst we're on it, though. I mean, that was a massive moment for you career-wise, wasn't it? In Leverkusen last year. I mean, it was so close, wasn't it? You were right on the brink, and for some reason that day, I remember thinking he's going to do it today. It just looked like you were going to do it. Yeah. Like, do you know what? I almost pulled out of the race.
No way. Come on.
It's the trend, isn't it?
My goodness. So I was having what was that? So that indoor season I pulled my left hamstring. But then on the race day, my right one was feeling funny. And I was like rolling it out and it just felt so stiff. And I was like, nah, this is not right. But I just ignored it. And I was like, I'm going to run quick. Because like normally when you run quick, your body's just like scared to do it. It's like, it's quite weird. Like it happens quite a lot. It's like it knows. And it's just like, it doesn't want to go there. And I was like, I'm just going to run. So I ran the first round and it felt fine. And I think it was quite windy, but like it was quite comfortable. And then for the second round, I called my dad after the race and he was like, don't dip, just run through the line. I was like, all right, cool. So then I ran the second race and I got to like 90. I was like, should I? But I was like, no, I'll just run through the line. And then, 997. Insane. Yeah.
I mean, we as commentators, we big up that 10-second barrier. For me, like in my events, it's 2 minutes, 4 minutes. Like, what does it really mean? Yeah, to break 10. Like, how does it feel to be to be so quick?
It's actually mad. Like, it's historical. Like, less than 300 people ever have done that. So like, when you say it like that, it's quite crazy how exclusive it is.
That's so cool.
And like, bro, it's so weird because like you don't think about these things until you have these conversations, and now I've got like I can't think of what to say because I'm just like, yeah, that's crazy. But now it was a nice moment because like that's what all sprinters work towards, you know, to be part of that 10-second club. And I think for me, the next goal is to get there consistently. It's great doing it once, but I like to just be consistent in what I can do. And I know there's numbers that once I step on the track, I can leave knowing that I can at least hit X. And I'd like 9 to be that next consistent barrier. And which does take a lot of work because like it's not easy to be at that level in every single race. So something we're going to work towards. And I think if I want to achieve the goals I've set in LA and beyond, like that's something that I need to be able to do. So yeah, consistency is massive, and it's something I just try to be. But yeah, sub 10. We get good to get another one this year. I need to qualify. So yeah, that's the goal.
And what shape do you feel like you're in now? Because we're speaking to you just after you've set a new 200-meter PB. Is that somewhere you might think about putting a bit more focus in the years to come, chasing some more records, British records, Welsh records?
Yeah, definitely. That 200 was so much fun. And before I left Cardiff, we were doing 200s a lot. It's just in the last 2 years, it kind of got put on the back foot. Not really by my choice, but like when you go into an environment, you work with somebody, so you trust like what they say to you. And it was good to focus on the 100 for 2 years. But now it's like, I think having something else to think about is better in a sense, because I think you can get quite obsessed when you're just doing one event. And I really just want to focus now on like bringing that 200 down. And I think me thinking about the 200, my 100 is just going to be better because I'm not forcing it. It's just happening as it happens.
But the priority is still the 100, is it? Is there a situation where you could start to really, really go for it a bit more for the 200?
Yeah, I mean, of course, naturally the priority is the 100. I've run so much, like my differential's so big. I want to bring it back down because I think there's way more in the 200. But yeah, the 100 will be what I'll be going for individually. I think the thing with the 200, you just need to run it more because like that bend can just be, and different tracks make such a big difference on that bend. So it's just literally about running it. And I think I need to get more of them under me. And with the way the season's gone, we'll probably look to do that properly next season, or maybe the back of trials after we know what is happening moving forward. But yeah, that's kind of just what I'm gonna go for. Yeah, it was fun and it was different, which is good.
Well, like the bend, yeah, if you're going to be useful in a relay team, it's good to have different options to work on different part of the events. And yeah, you are a big part of the GB relay team. And I think one thing for me as an athlete is like watching that program go from kind of a bunch of individuals that hadn't really necessarily bought in to the team element to where you guys are currently, this generation. Like, is that right? Like, it seems like you guys all have that energy to spare for the team event. It's a tough sport when you're trying to do your individual, but you're trying to save something for the team event as well. But it seems like you guys are in a great place.
No, the relay boys, like, they're all cool. We get on, which is important. I think in previous years, it might have just been 4 individuals coming together, but I think we actually care about each other at that point. Maybe not before, but at that point, we actually care about each other. And we want to see each other succeed, which is important for a team event anyway. And yeah, you just walk onto that track with confidence because you've seen, especially in Paris, we're all in shape. We've all run so fast. Now we get to do it together. We get another opportunity to go back out there. And yeah, it's just sick, you know. Relay's so different. It was a shame that I couldn't be at the World Relays, but like the relays, it's so much fun. I actually just, relay is something that I actually just love.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, you can tell how close-knit you all are and how you really want to give everything to each other to try and achieve success for the team and for the country you're representing. I mean, Zarnel wasn't in great shape, was he? He had to pull out the individual event and came back for the relays for you guys. Yeah. And it just shows how tight-knit you are. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's very important. Like, it's easy to have flat speed, but that bond really is important. We've seen in history, like, the fastest teams don't always finish. And I got to see it firsthand. It's like everything's slowed down. Like on that first leg change in Paris, once I've given it, I can see exactly what's going on. And you think all that speed and they aren't able to do a job, you know. And that's not a dig at anyone. It's just the reality of what it was. That's why it's so important to actually want to be there for people. Because even without Zarnel, I probably wouldn't have got a medal. So for him to come back and help us all achieve that. It takes a team, but he definitely had a huge part to play in that. And
But
yeah.
yeah. No, but for me, like, the camaraderie is there, the culture is great, but that doesn't count for anything if you don't get those practice sessions in through the year, and that's sort of the other level. For me, the commitment you guys have made to that is taking time out from your own individual pursuits to meet up through the year. Like, how much time do the 4x4 spend together, sort of practicing those changeovers?
So we kind of, it's been difficult this year. A few injuries and people like overseas. The program's been kind of not as consistent as it normally would be. And I think also post Olympics it's hard to get straight back into it. You know, it takes a bit of time to like build up that rhythm as a team. Um, but yeah, we've had practices just before World Relays. We'll have a practice before London. There'll be guys practicing out at the European Team Champs, and all these little moments that sometimes we don't think help, they all add up, you know.
Do you feel more or perhaps less pressure when you go into a relay final than an individual event? Because I'm just wondering how you cope with the fact that you're working with three others and you're carrying their dreams in your hands, or well, the baton in your hands, and hopefully dreams along with them and medals. But I'm so interested whether that sort of relates in your mind to how you then approach your individual event.
I wouldn't say more pressure or less. It's a different pressure. Because you kind of feel less because you're with a team, but then there is that more because you, like you said, you've got their destiny in your hands as well. And I think for me, especially in Paris, like my individual didn't go great, and that was in the blocks, and I had to get back in the blocks for everybody else. So there was like a moment of like take a deep breath before the first round. And I was like, obviously I know that can't happen again because it's not just me now. And yeah, but it was even just like for them trusting me to go back out there and like let me know that I could stand on that line because they believe in me as well.
You're really fortunate, aren't you, as sprinters, that you get to compete in a team event? I don't know whether, Hannah, are you slightly envious about the fact that you don't get to do something like that?
Yeah, so athletics is a lonely pursuit, and we've touched a bit on the kind of the call room and the stress of that. Like I think going in there as a relay squad, that would be a lot nicer. But the pressure that comes with it, like I'm not envious of the pressure of having to sort of share that responsibility, and if you mess up, you're messing up everyone's race, not just your own. Like we have a few cross country relay events, and I think they'd just be super fun because they're not as technically challenging. But no, I definitely think in the endurance we'd root for each other through the rounds. You want us all to make a final, and then the gloves are off. Then then there's no team element behind it. You're absolutely going for yourself. But yeah, I think it's fun that the sprinters get to experience both through a champs.
Yeah. Can we just, before we wrap, Jeremiah, can we talk about some of the young talent coming through and the depth that we're seeing in across 100 and 200 at the moment? I mean, we've got the established names, we've got the likes of yourself, and then we've got the likes of Gout Gout, Payanda Walaza, Christian Miller, Lachlan Kennedy. It's quite an exciting generation. Louis Hinchcliffe, an exciting generation coming through.
Yeah, no, it's sick. It's good to see because there's always that gap, and you don't want it to go for more than a year or two. So it's good to see that there's like names that people are talking about coming through. I mean, athletics isn't the biggest sport in the world, but when I've got my nephew coming up to me and saying about, oh, have you raced Gout Gout and like things like that, it's good because that means they're getting that exposure, which is important. Because yeah, it's quite easy to go unnoticed at that age, but for them, of course, it's a social media generation, so now like there is that attention that they get, which is good.
Do you respond and go, no, he hasn't raced me?
Nah, just
it's not his personality. He's two children.
I just keep it real. I'm just like, nah, man, not yet, man. Yeah. Just yeah, but they all get excited. Like even at church, like with the kids, they're always asking me about racing Noah Lyles and stuff like that. It's just fun. But it's good that they're interested in the sport. And it might be just because I'm there. So like I don't know if I can't speak for all the kids, but for me it's exciting that kids want to watch racing, kids want to watch athletics.
One of the big things a lot of us commentators push and that we really feel like athletics is a truly global sport. Some of the other big sports out there, they're not worldwide. Athletics is. And the men's 100 has got to be one of the most contended events across the globe. The number of nations, all the continents, everyone always gets involved. Do you think you've picked the hardest event in track and field?
I don't like this topic of what's the hardest, what's the easiest. I think
Most
they're all hard in
competitive.
their own way, but I personally do think the 100 is the hardest because like one step wrong can actually determine whether you're finishing up there or not. Like it's all like you've got less than 10 seconds to make everything happen, and yeah, it's when you put stuff into perspective for people. The reaction time, the acceleration, like there's no margin for error. And I think that's what we all love about it. The thrill of like, can I actually do this today? Can I perform when it matters? That pressure, that we kind of just seek that adrenaline, because it is fun. Like, and I think that's why, for me, that's why I do it. It's fun. And yeah, just it's difficult, but it's the sport I've chosen, so I can't really control that,
Well, we could always chuck you in the pole vault and see what happens.
Nah, I did pole vault one time for like my high school, and I almost broke my nose, so I never did it again. Yeah, like I went over and I landed on my back, and then my knee just smashed into my face. I was like, yeah, that's it. So my
Career
PB
over.
is going to 270 for the rest of my career.
It's a lot better than we've done. Actually, Hannah, have you ever done the pole vault?
Negative, no pole vault for me. Hand-eye equipment, yeah, just no.